5 Network. This is MorningLine.
Good morning, everyone. Nick Beres here, and this is MorningLine. I hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday, and it is good to have you with us for the show today. We're going to open up the phone lines because we're going to be talking pets, animals. You know, do you have pets? Are you thinking of getting one? Do you just not like pets and they're not for you? That's okay. You could still tune in. But really, this show is for animal lovers. We're going to be talking this morning with veterinarian extraordinaire. Okay, that is Allison Fields.
Good morning.
Hi, Allison. What's that bracelet?
Oh, it's a hair tie.
Oh, it's a hair tie. Okay. You guys always look fetching.
Yeah, thank you.
It's nice to have you on this morning.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
I suppose there are people out there that just don't have pets. We were talking to our intern here, and he is not in the position yet to have a pet because he's still in school.
Right.
And that's smart. He's just smart. Aside from that, most people, I think, would like some type of animal.
Yeah.
If not to keep at home, to maybe enjoy out in the wild.
I think probably at least what, 70% of people have a pet of some kind?
Do you think that's it? I'm curious.
I don't know. I was just
probably
pondering
Google that and find out how many folks own a pet of, meaning anything from a fish,
right,
to a cat, to a dog,
horse,
to a horse,
to a cow.
Yeah, pot-bellied pig. No poisonous snakes, even though some people do have them as pets, though you will not care for them.
I was in Perry County this weekend, and there was a stray piglet running around on the road. Where do you find a stray piglet? Perry County.
Perry County. Just a little, not a pot-bellied one, but a little.
I don't know. He was a baby.
What'd you do? Did you, or was it someone?
I slowed down so he'd get off the road.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm curious, as a veterinarian, do you take a Hippocratic oath?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so what is it? Basically the same as a human doctor, that you have a responsibility to care for a living creature, regardless of whether it's poisonous?
That part's really not in there.
Okay, so
by caring for it, I can just walk away and not harm it.
Right, but if it needs care, if it's something
not
if trauma.
I don't see exotic animals, which I don't.
Okay, you don't see them.
No.
Well, I mean, do you treat non-venomous snakes? A lot of people have pet corn snakes,
my clinic
things like
does.
this.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see exotic animals. My boss does. He sees all the exotic snakes. We do not see venomous snakes.
Yeah,
no.
Those being illegal. But I bring that up about the snakes. I know veterinarians deal with domesticated animals. I would imagine people who don't know any better at times will come across a baby bird they find in the yard, or
yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
let's talk about baby birds right now.
Right now is when it's happening.
Okay, if you find a baby bird and it's fallen out of the nest and it doesn't have any feathers, put it back in the nest. End of story.
Wives' tale that if you touch it, the mother will abandon it? Okay.
Same thing goes for bunny. Anything that if you touch it, the moms aren't going to smell and go, ooh, they're still going to take care of it.
Okay.
If you see a baby bird that has feathers, isn't fully feathered, and is hopping around, chirping, he's probably fallen out of his nest because he's gotten too big.
Right.
And mom will still feed him even though he's on the ground.
Okay.
She'll hear him chirping. She'll come feed him until he's...
All right, what if the bird is injured and you've determined that?
If the bird is injured, which would be interesting, I mean, they'd have to have like a wound like that you can see.
Busted wing or something.
Yeah, but when they're that little, you don't really know if it's busted or they just can't use it. But there is a wildlife rehab place called Walden's Puddle. Mm-hmm. They can call them. There are just a few veterinarians in the area that will triage wildlife, but most of them, if you bring it into them, and you need to call first because not all of them do it. But if you bring it into that vet, then a lot of times they'll say you need to come back and get it and take it to Walden's Puddle because veterinary clinics don't have, the staff to be shuttling back and forth. But Walden's Puddle is a great place. It's in Jolton. They rehab thousands of animals a year. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. They do baby squirrels and birds, and they have raccoons. I mean, you name it, and they rehab it. They get it back out in the wild. They do a great job. So if you're looking for a place to donate some money, they can always use it. Or they typically always have a list on their website of things they need. So it's not even money. Old towels and newspapers and stuff like that. So you can hit their website and see what they need. But they're always in need, and it's a fabulous cause.
And that's where you send folks. Because I would imagine every vet clinic at one time or another has someone come and say, I found this injured bird in the yard. And you have to, listen, you have to take it someplace else.
Well, we look at it, and if it's not injured, which most of the time they're not.
Then you say, put it back in the nest. That's the plan. All right, now when
we have more kidnappings of wildlife this time of year. It's do not kidnap the wildlife.
People meaning well.
They mean well. They do.
And you worry.
And then we hear our grandmother, don't touch it. Oh, I already touched it. I can't put it back. You can put it back.
Okay.
Absolutely. Back in the nest.
It'll be just fine. Good.
Yeah.
All right. The number 737-7587. If you want to join in the conversation, we'll take your phone calls. Lots to talk about this morning when it comes to your pets. It's getting warm all of a sudden. Boy, this week.
It's going to be a bad tick season.
I found my first tick on my leg yesterday. I was out in the garden. I plucked it off and I dropped it into a little vial of alcohol, and it's staying there. So if I get some kind of weird disease, I can take the tick in and say, this is the tick that bit me. Yeah, I'm a little bit over the top on those things, but that's what I did. I don't want to get Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme disease, or something like that. I want them to be able to diagnose it from the tick if they need to.
Good job.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Bite me.
I'm just waiting for the end of the summer when you've got like 30 ticks in there, and they're going to say,
at some point,
which tick was it, Nick? And you're going to be like, I don't know, but here they all are. And the doctor's going to be like, we're just going to put you on some doxycycline because that's what we treat tick-borne diseases with, regardless of what it is.
You're right. I'll just know, but I'll just remember I did get bit, so I'll keep that in mind.
Right.
All right. Oh, you know what? We have Joe on the line. Lines are open. 737-7587. Jump in. Let's go to Joe. Joe, good morning.
Good morning, Ed.
Hey, Joe.
Question for the vet.
Sure.
What does she recommend on a combination flea and tick medication? I know my wife last year bought a flea collar, and they told it was for flea and ticks, and when I got to reading instructions on it, it was just for fleas. It wasn't for ticks.
Okay, well, there's a lot of good products out there now. There is, starting with collars, there's a collar called Seresto, which lasts for 8 months. The studies are really, really good on it. It does fleas and ticks. It's kind of pricey, but it gets you, I think it's 8 months. It might be 6 or 7. I can't honestly remember. They're around $80, but that's about $10 a month, and they work really well. There are some other options. There's always the topicals that we've been using for 10 or 15 years. Frontline Plus, Advantix. Those are two that are kind of the trendsetters in flea and tick control, and those work well. They are a topical. You have to part the hair, put them down on the skin in a couple different spots on the midline. And then in the past several years, we've had 2 other products come out that are my new favorites. They're oral medications, tablets, chewable treats that most dogs, I haven't met a dog that doesn't like them yet. There's Brevecto, which is a pill that lasts for 3 months, probably somewhere around the $50 range, lasts for 3 months, works phenomenally, fleas and ticks.
What's it called again?
Brevecto. And then there's NexGard, which is by the makers of HeartGard. Everybody's familiar with HeartGard. That's kind of the longest running heartworm prevention out there. NexGard is a monthly chewable treat for fleas and ticks. And you typically buy that in a 6-pack. It's about the same price per month that the Brevecto turns out to be. But I like both of those. I really like the fact that they're oral and you don't have to worry about the topicals, especially if you have small children in the house or if your dog, and I know that the topicals say safe for swimming and all of that. I just don't know how well I believe that. But if you have a dog that gets groomed frequently or gets bathed frequently or swims a lot, you may want to think about using one of the orals as opposed to a topical. And I'm using either NexGard or Brevecto, whichever one, in my dog, and have found a dead tick, the tiny little tick that got killed really quickly.
Really quick?
And it was towards the end of the month. I guess I had her on NexGard, and it was about 3.5 weeks in, and she was doing really, really well. So,
do you have a dog or a cat, Joe?
A dog.
Yeah.
The other question I have, I've read about the oral medication. Have you saw any side effects from it?
The only side effects we've seen are and we've probably seen maybe 3 in our clinic in probably several hundred. And those were smaller dogs who were they all come in dose ranges. So it's like 10 to 20 pounds and 20 to 40 pounds and 40 to 60 and 60 to 120 or something like that. We've seen 3 side effects, and mainly it was GI upset, vomiting, and some diarrhea, and those were all in dogs that were at the lower end of their weight range that they were in. And so in our clinic, we're using NexGard in the smaller dogs, which is the once a month. And then the bigger dogs seem to do great with the Bravecto, which is the 3-month one. So I've had great luck with both. I've had very minimal side effects, and they seem to be working really, really well.
Does that help, Joe?
Yes, it helps a whole lot.
Good. Good. Yeah, you got a lot of options there. I appreciate the call as always. But yeah,
it can get quite confusing.
I didn't even know they made collars anymore. You talked about the Seresto, and
collars kind of went by the wayside, and then Beres came out with the Seresto collar.
But it's different than what the old collars were that just smelled like pesticide.
They don't smell at all. They're so safe that when the rep was in the clinic showing them to us, he was actually chewing on the collar.
Okay.
But they have to be fairly close to the skin. They have to be snug, not tight, but snug. And so I don't know how well they're going to work on your really thick-haired breed dogs. But they seem to be working really well. I have lots of collars, and they come with like little reflectors that you can put on there so that if you're walking at night, so, you know, they work well if you want to use collar.
Good.
I like the orals.
In the days of powdering your dog and all that, there's no reason for you to have to do any of that yucky stuff anymore. Even though some of the things now may be a little more than that powder used to, but guess what? This stuff works.
It does.
So just take advantage of that. Hey, listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to take more of your calls. Tammy's on hold, some others on hold. We got lines open, 737-7587. Also, we're going to talk about that recent Manchester rescue and our new dog, Mashed Potato. We'll show you a picture of Masher and talk about these dogs coming up right after this. Stick around to see Mashed Potato. We'll be right back.